Taking you Python programming from beginning, from fresher to the end. We'll be covering variable, string, method, and different type of things that you need to know, like condition, decorator, how you actually need to understand decorator, and keywords like len, like or hand notes, and more different type of things like that, and object-oriented programming like class creation, instantiating, inherit, class initializer, finalizer, decorator, and some sort of things that you actually need to know. So without wasting our time, let me start. So variable, we'll start with variable. Variable is a container that is used to store data in order to minimize our reusable of code. So it gives us the ability to create one code and be able to reuse it in many places. Just like, let me give you an example of stamp. When you create a stamp, when you create a stamp, once you put it, once you put the ink in a stamp, you can apply the same stamp into different type of paper. That manual stamp, you can apply it different type of paper. Instead of you to be writing the stamp structure with pen, writing it with pen. Once you carry stamp, you put it once, you have already draw what you should be writing on the paper. Like on the paper, you just put it and stamp it into many different of paper that you want to stamp without stressing your time. That is just the example of variable too. Once you assign a data to a variable is a very small container that is used to store a small data or even big data. But the purpose is not for you to be writing the same code again. And also, it gives you the ability to express your programming writing that give other developers ability to understand what you have already wrote. So this thing is very good and is the best practice for you, especially when you're writing your variable in English structure. So for example, my I say my name is Tim Adura. So we have create my name like this. Then I want to be using my name in many places. Instead of me to be writing it, I've already created it. So anytime I want to call my name, I can just say my name is. So once I add my name is, it's going to show my full name. For example, I say print. And what is print? Print is a method. Let's say method. Right now, you should not be worried about what method is, but I will explain detail after this. But just know that method is something that gives you the ability to print out something in a console. What is console? This is console. Console is a type of software that is used to control your operating system. It is used to control to help you to do some automation, to help you to run some files that you cannot be running manually. Yes, that is work of console. Console command, it is a command prompt to command your operating system. So that's console. And it is also a way for you to debug or test your code before going to production. Imagine we want to be creating a Python boilerplate code now. We cannot just jump into GUI. What is GUI? What is GUI? GUI is a type of a way of creating interface like all this as this Visual Studio is, as this decoration is now. Just because you want to say print my name, we now start writing GUI code type of code. It will be complicated. Fresher won't be able to understand it. So that is why CMD console comes to play, which gives you the ability to test your code very fast, very quick. So what is print? And print is what is going to be calling anytime you want to print any data into your CMD. That is work of print. So just know that that is work of print. So after this, anything you put in print is going to print it in the console here. So we are going to be using it to test whether our project work or not. So let me see, my name is, then you see it print out Team Adura. Let me say I want to now use it in many places. Let's say I love rice, want to be rich too, but I need to work more harder. Yes, I think that is natural law. I think work harder is not. I need to work more smarter. Yes, that's natural law. Hell, so let's say, and I'll say, um, so let me add it. As you're saying it, we are performing, we are printing some stuff which we need my name in many places. As you see it, my name appears in many places. Just like this, I appear in many places. But my name is kind of something that is special, that is not ordinary text. It appears in many places. So I think it's better for us to create a variable for it. So in this kind of case, you will see the actual work of variable here, which is it minimizes us of writing this thing Madura many times. Now, you see, it print out I'm Team Madura. I need to work more smarter. I'm Team Madura. Yes, I think that is natural law. I'm Team Manu. I love rice. I'm Team Madura. I want to be rich too. You see, this actually shows what we actually need. So instead of us to be writing this, it's print it out for us and don't have to worry again. And if other developers sees this our code, they will know that everything that is here is actually dealing with this man, Team Adura. So that is one of the work of a variable. Variable 2, you can assign a list to it, which we are going to be covering more. Don't let me give you all those kind of things now. After, you'll be seeing that we'll be assigning different type of data structure, data type into the variable. And it's going to take it in. And don't be confused here if you're from C or C++, Java, C, C++, another language. If you want to create a variable, you have to declare the type of variable. But in Python, you don't need to declare the type of variable you are writing. Variable is going to the Python is going to check the type of value that you are assigned to the variable. The type of value, this value, the type of value that you are assigned to the variable. Once it detects that it is a string, it's going to turn this to string. Once it detects that it is an integer, it's going to turn it to integer. Once it detects that it's a list, tuple, or anything, it's going to turn it immediately. So you don't need to declare the type just like some other language that you have to declare it. So that is what make Python very easy and fast to code with. It minimizes your boilerplate of code. It is like in English, you work with it with like a friend. So let's move to string method. So there are a lot of methods that is building in Python actually that you can use to perform some fine stuff in Python. Let me say hello world. So this hello world is all in small letter. What if you want to turn it to capital letter? This is a building method in Python actually. You can just say capitalize. So you can say print, you can say hello, capitalize. This is to store what we have already created into capital method. Because I like to write it in this way. Dot capitalize. You see, when I put dot, there are a lot of format, replace, join, encode, split, strip. These are a lot of functions, inbuilt functions in Python. We are not going to go into everything, so we are going to just go into small. So as a capitalize, Then make it like this. Then let me clear. Then you see it will turn into capital. Oh no, I haven't printed it. Sorry, I'm sorry. You see, it's turned to capital. Yes, it capitalize it. See, it is hello. So it capitalize it to capital. So the work of capital, there are a lot of inbuilt, like let's say I turn it to capital, you can it can turn it to small letter too, like lower, then it will turn it to lower. You see, it's lower both of it. Like let's say strip, um, let's say short string, and now it's on a copy of string with leading children white space. You see what it's going to do. Um, boys, okay. So let's say, sorry, let's say hello dot trim dot trim. Oh, okay. Let's say dot count. Sorry, this is bring over there. Huh? Hmm. Say, let's say count. This count is going to take in an argument, which is what we want to count inside there. Let's say let's count h. How many h is in the string? One. Let's say l. How many L inside the string? That's three. So we can use count. We can use there are a lot of methods that you can search. We can use something like formal strip replace and different type of method. Um, like split. What if we say hello, comma? So this is going to check around and separate any words that have this split. It's going to turn them to list. You see, this hello is separate, this is separate. So we have a lot of different methods in string that we can actually use. So let's move on to another topic, because these methods are a lot of methods that you can search and use. So let's move to casting. So so let's say casting. What is casting? Casting is converting of a string into another data type. For example, we are writing a string, we are adding something, and we come across the problem that the data that we have is a string, and we need that data to perform some mathematical problem, so to perform some mathematical execution, like to do some things like addition or subtraction or something like that. But it is a string, there is no way it can happen. We have to convert it to integer, or maybe it is integer, we want to print it out, but there is no way it will print normally, because if you want to concatenate it, it will think it is integer, so it may cause error. We have to convert it to string. How are we going to do this? This is when the casting come into play. It is supposed to convert a data type like integer into string or string into integer. What is string actually? We have been talking about what is string. String is a data type that gives us the ability to to store a different type of sentence in a variable. You know what is sentence? Sentence is a combination of signs, numbers, and every different type of things. An integer is mainly based on numbers. So in this kind of case, we have to convert the string we have into number or number into string if you want to use it in different type of. So how can we do this in a short? So if we want to do this, there is what we call, if we want to convert string, this is string right now, to integer. We we have one function which is called int. This int, anything we put inside we convert to int. Let's use, firstly, let's just check the type of the variable we have. This variable we have, let us check the type. So the type, you see, class type is string. Now let us now convert it to integer. Now we use the method int, sorry, to convert it. Then print. You see it turned to int. How can we now know it turned to int? Because even if you print hello, it's also going to show the same too. How can we know it is int? Then we use the type to check if is it really int or not. Then press. You see the class, the type is int. So this type method is used to check the type of variable that you have. What if it is int, we want to change it to string? Then how can we do this too? So in this kind of case, we have changed this to integer now. You see it is number now. Then we will also use the function, which is what? Which is string, which is str. So anything inside this string, it will convert it to string, which is hello. Then now our value is string. We can even copy it and put it inside another variable, which is very good practice for us to use in another, like to string. So this has already turned to string. Then let us check the type. You see string. So this is a way of casting, converting a data type from one data type to another actually. So let us move to list. What are lists? These are the type of data type that is used to store a sequential data. As the word says, list. It is a list of data. It is a collection of data that have sequentially arranged. It may not be order, it may be order, but as long as they're sequentially data, they're collections of data joined together, one or more together. That is what they call list. As the word list is a list of data, it's a collections of data. So if you want to create a list, how can we do this? I just say list variable, any name you want, then you do what? You do like this. This bracket, this two bracket, anything inside it is a list. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. These are list type of integer. We can even add integer and string together. Like you can add integer and string together. So in this place, I'm not going to be adding integer and string. So let's perform some things. What's the use of string? What's the use of list? This is very useful when we want to do some data data work, you want to do different type of data work. Maybe you have a sort of data you want to work with, you have a sort of program data you want to work with actually. So for example, let's say we have this kind of list of number we want to iterate through it. For example, we have something we call iterator, which is loop, which we have not reached now, but we will soon reach. Loop is a type of functions that is used to iterate. It is used to iterate through a collections of data. You can use loop to iterate through any collections of data, be dictionary, list, any type of collections. So for example, let's say for I in list variable print, as we all know, print is used for printer. What this is saying, I will explain more later. But just know that this is used to loop through, is used to iterate through. Let's all talk of iterate. Iterate is checking one by one, checking one after the other in a list. Like we have a student, we have assembled students. Then we want to check them one by one whether they wear their socks. Their socks. So what we are going to do is we are going to start from front or from back and check them one by one. So by performing that, that is what they call iteration. We are iterating through them. Then what we use, the method we use is the scope we use is iterator. So we are iterating through them one by one. We are checking them one by one. That's what they call iterator. That's what they call looping. So with this method, we have the ability to iterate through the list that we have. So you see now, if we iterate it through one by one, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4. So right now we know that how to iterate this. We can even count it. You can say we have a lot of things to do with list. You can say list dot um you can say print len list variable. This is going to print the amount of list. And don't forget, list start from zero. Just like all variable, it's the law of variable is they start from 0, 1, 2, 3. So the first one here is 0. So this function here check the length of the list we have. Let's say we want to check the first value in this list. We can say list, sorry, can say list variable, then we put this like this, then put 0. See, it gets 1 first. Let's say we want to check 3. Do you know that what is 3? 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 will be 4 because we start from 0. Array start from 0, so 3 will be 4. See, it is 4. So you can get from this, you can do a sort of things. You can even sort. Like now, let's say I have scattered number. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just see if I want to arrange this. I just create variable sorted very. Doesn't mean for you to create it like this. You can create it in any name that you want, but I'm just recording it in this way. But just make sure that you create it in a way that the English will be understandable for other developer to work with. So you can just call the name sorted, then you pass the list variable there. You say sorted variable, then let's test it out. You see now they now follow each other one by one, and the value that we have is not sorted already. So this method sorted is able to sort our data in an ascending order, in the follow order. And what is sort? As you all know, sort is arranging of a data as they follow: digitally, alphabetically, like number or alphabetically. Sorry. So we have different method for method actually. So we can edit, we can change, like you may feel like changing of one data. Maybe you are working on it something, you want to change a data that is in a position here. Let's say this changed equal to, I want to change I want to change the number, the list in number 3, which is 2 for list. So it will be 2. So I should just do like this, equal to 10. Then this variable, put this variable. You see, I change this 7 into 10. So you can call and change and manipulate any type of data you want, um, with this type of method. So we have a lot of things to do with this, so you can research more. With these small details, I think you should understand how to work with lists in short. So let's go to tuple. A tuple is a collection, type of collection that is, it is immutable. You can't edit it, you can't change it. That's tuple. To create a tuple, you have to do something like this. There's a tuple variable. Don't forget, I'm using all this variable type name. It is not compulsory for you to use the type name. You can use anyone that you want. So let's see, if you want to create tuple, use it like this. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we print tuple. And then I do now. Let me check the type. Okay, see, it's tuple. You'll be seeing me using CLS. It is for clear. It is to clear what you have been doing here. So if you want to write CLX, it's going to clear everything for you. So see, now it is tuple type. So tuple is a type of things that is used to store sort of data. It's like, it is immutable, you can't edit it, and but it is also, I think it is iterable too. Let's iterate through it. I in tuple print I. Yes, it is iterable, but it is immutable. I think you can't change it. There's a tuple variable 1 equal to 10, print tuple variable. You see, the variable object is not supposed to return, so you can't change it. Like, you can't change the variable. Once you store it, you have already stored it. It doesn't have the ability to take an index like list have index. They have address of per index, but tuple did not have that. Tuple did not have the index address to change, so it is immutable. Once you define it, you have defined it. For example, you may see something like this. If we say x comma y equal to 1, 2, 3, then you x print x y. See, 1 and 3. This is a work of tuple here. This thing right here is a tuple. Why? Tuple give us ability to assign a variable direct into what? Into a variable that has not been declared, that has not been assigned to. So this process here is a work of tuple. So this is work of tuple. So that's use of tuple. You'll be seeing it in many different type of projects. Like you've seen listing of this and they give them a list of tuple. All of them will be assigned it accordingly. If you have like 10 type of date variable here and they give you a tuple list here, one by one they will be assigned to each other. So that's work of tuple. So let me see dictionary. What dictionary? Dictionary is a type of data type that have is a type of data type like is a container also, and it's under the iterable data type that take in the key and the value. Yes, it's under the collection data type that take in key and the value. It's very useful. Dictionary is very useful in programming. It's very useful when it comes to dictionary. It's very useful. You can use it for database and stuffs. Very useful. So if you want to create a dictionary, you can say dictionary label equal to, once you do like this, you've already create dictionary. So bring dictionary variable, then let me check the type. Say dict, that's dictionary. So if you want to create dictionary, let's create it in this way. Let's say uh, name Ademala, then you can say comma age, say comma age 23. You see, um, in dictionary, you have the ability to create maybe a string, maybe any data type, boolean, anyone, maybe married, false, false. See this boolean, this string, this integer. You can create any type of actually data type in dictionary. So it's taking anyone, may it be from the key or from the value. So to iterate through it, let's do like this for I in. So to iterate through it, you use the normal iterator. We say print, then we say okay, we say dictionary variable, then we do what we put I. What this is to say let me first print I so that you understand. Once you put I will iterate through the dictionary, then will show all the keys, not the value. See name, age, married. Then if you want to check for the value, so you can say dictionary dictionary variable high. There's going to give us a value. You see, so there are a lot of things you can do in um, dictionary actually. It's very useful, but in short, I don't want to take time. Let's move to set. As you all know, set is a very useful data type which is used to do mathematical stuff like sub of a file, sub of a data, and more. So let's go deeper into the set. So if you want to create set, say set variable, then you create it like this, but without key. Without key, it is just value. it will be looking like set looks like um set looks like integer. ah Set look like dictionary actually, but they are not the same. Let me show it to you. And so let's check the type. So this is set. Though if you create it like this, it will think it is dictionary. So you must put comma, maybe any digit, then it will know that it's set. Once you see that there is no key and value paired together, it will know that it is set. So to create a set, this is how it is. For example, let me give you the wonderful things about set. Let me say we have two number. They are duplicate. This half this half this. So you want to find the union of both of them. You can just do it like this. I just say set, like you want to find the combination of this and this without duplicate. For example, set, in set, if you have a set of set here and you have another set of set here and you want to join them together, you must not bring out duplicate because set doesn't allow duplicate. So for example, you want to do it in program 2. It is very simple. Let me say set 2, then we say set variable plus, let me say set variable 2, which is longer, minus set variable. Say, oh, what's going on here? So I'm sorry, that will give us a intersect instead of union. So if we want to get union, we have a inbuilt variable, which is, let's say, this set dot intersect dot union of this set variable 2. This is going to give us the union of both of them together. You can see, maybe you want to find intersect 2, say intersection. So the intersection of both of them are this. Let me say intersection of variable 2 to intersection of set variable. See, that's the intersect. What is inside there that is inside there? Let me say dot is disjoint. Everything in mathematics is not disjoint. Let me say everything in mathematics is in here. Let me say dot symmetry different 2 and 6. Let me say dot super or more things that you may like to do. You may even add, you may remove. How there is different type of things you can do in set actually, which you can check in a Python documentary website direct, and you can do more research. So these are little things that I can show you in this set Python. I think with this you have a little understanding of what set can do. It can do all mathematical stuff that you are imagining in your brain. So let us move to condition. What is condition? Condition is a, a type of method of telling programming the rules that you follow. Maybe let's say A equal to 1 and B equal to 2. Then we say we want to know the one that is greater. That is what they call condition. So it will say, let's say, what is the greater? Is the greater. What I just do is comment. If you want to write something that you don't want Python to execute or to touch at all, you can put the this star, or if you are using Visual Studio, you can just say control and slash. It is control and this slash, so it automatically do it for you. Then you write what you want to write. Anything you write here will not be executed by Python. So to do this to find the one that is greater in this thing, that is what conditions come to play. Condition is used to check, or to check what if this and this are this, if this and this. It is a conditional method, and what it return a boolean. For example, if I say if b is greater than a, you should do this. So what will happen in it, that if a is greater than b, it will return what? It will return true. If it is not, it will return false. So if it is false, the method will know that it's false and it will not execute the code that is in its block. If it is true, it will execute it. That is the work of conditional. So for example, if a is greater than b, print a is greater than b. So let's check it. If it is greater, let's print it again. You see, it does not print anything. This is why, because a is not greater than b. So what you will say, if a is less than b, you should print a is let's say is less. You see, it's print it out. So in this kind of scenario, you will see that the use of this if statement, we can call this statement, but it is a conditional statement, which is used to perform a conditional task. Like if this and this, if this is equal to this, like let's say, for example, if you have a list that is 1 2 3 4 5, then we can use this keyword that I wrote there, that I'm going to be we'll be using them now. Then we can say if one in one in list, then print one is in list. See, see, because one is in list, let's say one is not in list, it doesn't print anything. So anything you put here, if it is correct, like if it is correct to what you say, it should check if it is correct. It's going to do everything inside this block. But if it is not, it will ignore it. So that's the work of if statements. We also have else if, or if else, which is if one is in the list, it should do like this. L if two in the list should print two in the list. You see, so it should check two in the list. You see what happened here? One is not in the list, so you check, first check if one is in the list. One is not, so you now take it as if two is in the list, you should print two. So you check first, one is not in the list, it doesn't print, now you print two in the list. So if is if the first statement has been checked, perform. If it is or it is not, check this as a second, then perform this one too. Then what if you want to stop, say if one is not in the list, we check also if two is in the list. If one is not in the list and two is not in the list, we want to perform something. How can we do that? So we say else. This is else. So else is to say if this all the condition, you may use if statement, else if in many times. We say, let's say, let me say if 3 is in the list. So you may do it in many times. So it will check through all these things. If they are correct, it will come run them. If they are not, if all of them are not, then it will now come to the S. S is if this is not correct, this is not correct, this is not correct, then do this. Then print no one is correct. So let's check it out. 2 is in the list. You see, after the 2 is in the list, it doesn't move forward because it is a step conditional. So in this case, if 10 is not, 10 is not in the list, 1 is not in the list, it will check to see 3 is in the list. Then if I 30 is not in the list, 10 is not in the list, this one 2 is not in the list, then say no one is correct. You see, that is conditional. You can use conditional in different type of things. Or you say, let me use this. You say if 2 and 3 in list, print they are there. See, they are there. It's check and is check if these two is inside this list, and if one is inside and one is not, let me say else print they are not. Let me put 10. Why? 10 is not in the list. You can see. So let me test. See, they are not. Why? 2 is inside actually, but 10 is not. The statement says if 2 and 10 in the list. That is if 2 and 10. If one of them is not, so it is not going to execute this. Only if you want to check to use if 2 or 10 is in the list, you can use the word or. This is going to check if 2 or 10 is in the list, then it's going to execute this, then it's going to ignore this. So if 2 or 10 is not, it's not going to execute this. Let me test it for you. See, they are there. But let's say we put 11. 11 is not in this place, 10 is not in this place. Then let's check it. See, what? 11 or 10 in list as they are not. What? See, the hull is not working fine. So I use this sign. This sign is used to represent or. So if let's say the 11 is using or 10 in the list, they are not, because 11 is not and 10 is not. So it's execute this. But if they are, it's going to execute this. So there is a lot of keyword that you'll be using, and length. Like let's say if length if length of list is greater than 20, print it is, else it's not. It's not because the length. So how are we going to know the length? So the function of length is to check the length of the list we have. So here say print this length is very useful. It's going to count, so it's 4. So we have 1 2 3 4, so it's 4. So the length is used for 4. So we have a lot of methods and keyboard that we're going to using with list and different type of this thing, any type of selection that we have, like, so I've worked with this knot, I've not worked with knot. Okay, let me show you how to use knot. If two knots in list, this is another parameter. So print they are not. Yes, print, yeah. So they are. If two not in list, what this is a combination of two keywords, not in list. Just like in our English, if two is not in list, it should say they are not. As two is in the list, so what say they are. Let's say 20 that is not in the list, they are not, because they are not. So we have a lot of keywords that we are going to be using more and more as we are going. So after this, let's go to the class. Class in Python is the best thing and best practice for a programmer to understand. So I will try on my best to create this course and to give you more understanding about class. So let's go into it straight. So if you want to create a class in Python, it's not like other languages, it's very straightforward. So just say class, my class, any class name that you want, then start a class. Anything you write under this belongs to this class. Class is also like a function. It's also like a function. To create a function in Python, actually, I forgot to tell you, to create a function in Python, maybe you have worked with JavaScript or something like that, it is diff, which means define. So it's function, but they call it define in Python. Let's say define name. I'll go back to this objective oriented. Let me quickly say this, print name at the manner. Then if you want to call it, you can just say run name at the manner. So function is a type of it's a type of a structure in Python that is used to create a reusable block of code. It's very useful, very important. And in function which is defined in Python, you can create a method that is going to take an argument as a parameter for each, let's say name. Instead of me to write name manually, I can say the argument that I'm going to be passing through is name. Then I can call this Ademola many times. See, it's called. I'll call it Timothy, call it Taiwo, and call it Kende. See, everything's, instead of you to be writing it, it will actually do it for you very quick. I'm sorry, I'll go back to objective oriented, but let me recover this. So this is how you can do something. You can do, let's say define hard. You can say A, B, then you perform anything you want to perform. Let's say return A plus B. Then you can call it like add 2, 3, and 4. Then you can, because you are using return, you have to print it. Then you test it out. You see, it says 4 plus 2 is what? It says you can do a lot of things, you can add a lot of variables, you can even here you can even pass through function as a argument. For example, let me say you create a let's say you want to create an application that will say that will check if an application have start or application have stop. So now firstly you create an application which is dev run, yes run. Then you say print I'm running. So this application now if you call it, you say I'm running, isn't it? So we want to know whether this application starts running or not. This kind of site we can use it to create this type of things. We can pass in function as a argument in as a argument as a parameter. So because we are passing through string, we are passing to integer. Now I think it is very useful to learn how to pass through function too as a parameter, as an argument. So we will create something like, let me create dev checker. Let me call it checker. So let me say print start running. So anything you may apply a lot of different scopes here, just make it simple. Imprint start running, imprint stop running. Now let me now create a function here, which is, let me call it function as a parameter. And let's say function, then let me say checker is equal to run. um what's the problem here? Checker is equal to run. So let's check it out. Oh, okay, I think okay, because I call it like this, think. So what I'm trying to do here is that I want to show you how you can pass in a function as a parameter or argument also. So I think you are following me along. So in this kind of case, you just create your normal function, then you create a normal parameter you normally create, then you do everything you want to do. This thing is very good in debugging and some other cool stuffs. Let's say you want to check whether this function has this blocks of code have started running. You just put it here, you put the stop running, then you put the calling of a function here. Then now say you have declared your function here, then you put your function as a parameter as a argument here, then you run it. See, you say I'm running, start running, and stop running. I think they are not ascending. Let me create wrapper for it. Let me say wrapper dev. Let me see, and let's put this like this. So let's put this like this. the wrapper, then let me return wrapper, isn't it? Then let's put this print running. Hmm, this kind of case. Yes, think it's pretty cool like this. Yes, I think you should run on Sunday. I'm running the print starts from okay. Okay, it's not calling the functions. Oh, I think let me go back and this. Let's see. Turn. So it's called this I'm running, it's called start running, it's called stop running. So there is also a way that we can do it more better. Instead of doing this that is giving us issue, we can use what they call decorator. So instead of writing it like this and passing it through like this, you can just do like this. Then we can write checker. And it will also do the same thing. Starts and stop running, but it doesn't. Okay, then let's see. Well, I want you to print. Yes, then you should just return. Okay, there is a proper. See, it start running, it stop running, and there is something here. So why is it now not printing? So so we are trying to figure it out. Start. Okay. Now it works. Very simple. So I'm doing all those things to let you know that the way we actually struggle for writing of codes. So because you may made any mistake, you have to figure it out by doing it in real life stuff. So I create a normal functions, I print start this thing, and the functions that I pass that I'm going to pass a parameter, you can also create it as parameters you want. Then I call the functions here, then I print stop running. Then in the function that I want to use a decorator, then I create that function and I print something. So instead of using print, you can use any other cool stuff that you can imagine in your brain of doing. You can run something, maybe debugging, maybe sanitizing a form or something like that. You can do a lot of things with that. So let's run it and check what's going to happen. See, start running and running and stop running. So this is how decorator work. I just covered this method with the decorator because this is very useful. You can create it in your own. You can just quickly you can create it in many different type of small library and be using it in other type of class. It makes you look professional and it is a cool way of writing Python actually. So let's go back to our objective-oriented programming language. So an objective-oriented programming language is a pattern or structures in Python that is used to create a class and create a class in order to be able to reuse it. The actual essence of class is to create a reusable package that looks very cool and very understandable for that to use. And why are we not using function method instead of class? The reason is that method cannot inherit, method cannot do a lot of things, like method cannot initialize. If you want to initialize the method, you have to be passing through something like decorator or stuff like that. Method cannot initialize, method cannot finalize, method cannot do a lot of things that class can do. Method will make your code be a structured code. It is structured in an oriented way. So that is why we use classes, and if you want to apply for what job, people actually ask for, do you know objective-oriented programming language? Can you program in objective-oriented way? So all these kind of things it give you a leg because you can actually do some cool stuff with functions and other things without using object. But why? Are they compulsory? Because when we are dealing with a big company project, when we are dealing with big project, we are dealing with big libraries, we can't be writing a boilerplate code that is just a functions because we have thousands of functions in that way. So with class, you can create class and define you can call it a container. To me, I call it container. It's a small container that you can be able to reuse. Anytime you use it, you open it, you collect it, you use it, then you close it back. So it is very useful and it's very compulsory for programmer to understand it. So let me just start by explaining it to us. So if you want to create a class, just say create a class, any name you want actually, but I would advise you to be using English and readable name that will be easier for other people to know. So creating a class, there's something they call initializer in a class. But before going to initializer, because it's very useful, before going to initializer, let me create the same function that we used to create in also a class. But in class we call it method, we don't call it function. So let's say define class method. So define class method. So let's call it print main class. Now you have already created your first simple Python class. How can we now call this out? Imagine you have created this kind of things in another file. How can we call it out? Or you create it inside this file. How can we call it out? That is when what they call instantiate come into role. Instantiate is a way of assigning or calling your class in a way that you want to use it for a purpose. For example, if you want to instantiate this kind of class like this, you can create any variable. Let's say its instance variable equal to. In Python, we don't need new keyword. In other language like Java, we need new keyword, but in Python, you don't need new keyword. So once you create it like this, we are done. But right now, we have instantiate our class. How can we now call this method inside here? Then we'll just say this variable that's taking the catch, or I can call it reference, the reference, the address of this class, because this instance, what is just taken is the address of this class. So this variable now is having the address of this class. So it have the ability to call this method here. So to do that, you just say instantiate dot, what is the method? Class method that we want. Then you run it and check it out. Oh, what? See? Okay, okay, def, that's class method. Okay, what's now the error? The precision output one was given. Which one? Okay, see now. Thank God I come across this error. You see, my class dot class method take zero position. See, zero position argument, but one was given. Here's the thing. In Python class, if you are creating any method at all, you must put one argument, one parameter actually, which is what? Self. I use this, but you can use any keyword, but actually self is the most popular one. So self. Once you put this, it is a compulsory. You don't need to call this. Self is a compulsory parameter for you to put in creating a method. So what is trying to say here is take all position argument, but one was given. So let's run it again. You see, I'm in class. It was called successfully. Me, I'm from Java world, so I am used to using of this. So you can also use this if you are from Java world, you don't want confusion. You can also be using this keyword. So this keyword too is going to work fine. See? So it is not compulsory to use self, but most Python developers use self. But me, I'm from Java world. If you're from Java world, anywhere you're from, you can use the one that you are using so that you won't cause confusion for yourself. So they are also the same. Self, these or others are also the same. You can use any name that you want, but it must stay at the beginning of the parameter. So to stand as the first self parameter in your method in class. So let's say you want to now let something like, let's say, let me create a method add here. So I create a, b, then I say print a. The same thing we done in the former one. Then we're going to pass 2, 4. This is going to do the same. This method. Oh, sorry. Add. You see, 6. So you can do everything you're doing in a method in your function in v1 class 2. You can do everything you are doing too. So it is better for you to adapt with class, because if you adapt with structure, if you adapt with procedural way, it's very hard for you to convert to class. So it is the same thing that you're doing, but this have a oriented structural way. That is different between class and normal procedural way. So let me say I don't want to be calling this add. I want to call only class alone. How can I do it? But anytime they call this class, I want this thing to add. I want this function to call. How can I do this? Anytime they call the class, I want this function to call and to assign this value to it. I don't want to be using this long story of writing. How can I do it? That is when what they call constructor come into play. Constructor, you can also call it initializer, which is the one that is going to first call before any other thing call in your class. Which is, if you want to call it, it is also a method in Python class. but it is called init method. You see double underscore init double underscore this. You can use self. Don't forget, I'm used to this. That is why I'm using this. Then I use this pass because I haven't write anything, so I don't want error to be shown. When you don't want anything to happen in the method, you use pass. So as I said before, I want this thing. When I call this thing, I input my 4 and my 2. I want them to hard. I don't want to be calling this hard method. What can I do? Then I can actually do call my hard method here. Then I pass the A and B. How can I not get A and B? That is when this init method is very useful, because we want to call this method that we declare here, but we have to pass an argument so that it can send it to the method here and perform what it's supposed to perform. So in this case, we have to create what they call attribute, which is for class. So to create this, we will write anything that you write here, the first that you write here. It may be self, because popularly known as self. So I'm telling you, let me use self. Let me use, so that I don't want confusion here. Let me use self. I want confusion here. So if you want to create it, any attribute you want to create, you can say self dot a equal to a and self dot b equal to b. Then you create the here and b here and pass through self dot a self dot b. Then I say self dot hard. Everything's fine, isn't it? But what is the meaning of all this thing? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explain it one by one. Why are we using this self? This self, you can create any other thing. Let's say class archery A and class archery, so that you won't be confused. So then I will say class archery A, class archery B. So you won't be confused. So this is the thing. Anything you want to create a variable in class, you just say self, this self dot any variable name you want to create. So this variable name will be available in all the class. Anybody can call it. Anybody, yes, can call it in all the class. For example, let me let me say we say self dot class attribute A is equal to A. The A that they sent from here is going to assign here. The B that is sent from here is going to assign here. Then I'm going to collect it from the self attribute here. I'm going to now assign the value to it, because we cannot call this A or this B in other function, another variable, in another method in class. So that is why we assign them to this self, because any variable that have this self have the ability to be called in other place in the class. So that is why we assign this self to it. This self give them the ability to be called in anywhere in the class. So that's the reason, because you'll be wondering that why are we still declaring it? We are doing this so that we will be able to call it in any class. For example now, I call this self.add. What this mean? This is not a attribute, but I use self also. Yes, because it's inside the class. So if I want to call it, I will say self inside me, that is self dot add. Then I pass this self into this and this self into this. So it represents the passing of A and B direct into it. You see that when I now pass it, I did not pass this third one, because this third one is not meant for passing, it is for the class to know that this self is me. It is default way of writing it. The first value you write in Python method is for the Python class. It is not for you to use. But in some case, you may want to use it actually. So let me call it and check it out. Cool. See, my class take no argument. What is this? Why is that? Mm, this is argument. Call me back. Type here on my class. Argument. What's this thing? Uh, what is going on here? Okay. So instead of calling this, let us, as we have defined this for self, let us just call it a and remove this. See, it is actually callable. Like it is very easy to call like this. So we have turned the self A and B that was called here to be able to use anywhere in the class. So now once this one was called, let us call this. Okay, self. This is what matters me the most. Self dot variable. My class take no argument. Why? Take no argument. 4 and 6. Why this is giving error? Huh? I'm not taking a variable dot add. There must be issue with it. 4 and 6. Man. Sorry, thanks for watching. I will complete this actually. Later. This my system have some small issue that I have to solve. So I'm very sorry. I'll complete it and I'll post it later. Thank you.